what is the biggest thing that isn't considered when drafting a will?
Yeah, so a lot of my clients are surprised about the in-depth process that we go through to prepare a will because they think that they come in and I just ask them, tell me how you want your assets to be distributed. Like that's what they think a will drafting process is like versus they come in and I give them a questionnaire and then we have a very in-depth meeting where we talk about everything they put on that questionnaire and essentially their life in a nutshell at that point in time. So they're surprised about the fact that having an estate plan done is not something simple. They come in thinking it's something very simple, and sometimes it is. I'm also really passionate about talking, communicating with my clients, and educating my clients. So I tell them a lot about the courts look at things, about potential risks, about I point out a lot of things that they didn't think about. A really popular one is clients are not aware about, they're aware that there's something called an estate administration tax, formerly known as a probate tax, but they don't really know that there's such a thing as a strategy and you can work to have that reduced on death and what are the things that you can do. So that's a really big topic of conversation. Another big topic that clients are surprised about, sometimes there's some real estate properties that can skip probate. Literally. It usually applies to people that have owned their property since 2000 and earlier, and they bought it in registry system, and then the property got converted while they owned it. It got converted to land titles, and because it's this exception called first dealings, and because they fall within this very narrow exception, very few people fall within this, and there's certain other parameters that title needs to have. When I look at title and I deliver them the good news, and I've had the benefit of doing that to a couple of my clients in the past year, and I told them, you're going to save $20,000 in tax. Congratulations. And we planned for this on how to do this. They're like, oh my God, I've never heard of this in my entire life.
Can we also kind of touch on what is state administration tax?
Oh, yes. Estate administration tax is a tax that is applied on all the assets at the date of death. So when a person passes away, we make a list of all the assets at date of death. The certificate of appointment, what is it? It's because the will appoints an executor. So why do we need what is that? So it's the probate process. That's what it is. It's formerly known as probate. They changed the name now to the process called certificate of appointment, and it's the executor submitting an application to court where the court vets that this will is valid and that they are formally appointed as executor to this estate, and that they can, third party institutions such as the land titles office or banks, other financial institutions, they recognize this common document among any executor who wants to act called the certificate of appointment. But they don't necessarily recognize a will. If the executor brings a will, they say, that's nice, but you need to go through the process. The court needs to put their stamp of approval on this will. And when we get from the court an issued certificate of appointment that you are indeed the executor stated in the will, then we'll go ahead and help you administer whatever we need to administer.
So essentially, is it a way to validate and confirm the validity of a will?
Yeah, among other things. But that's one of the things. But the most important thing it does is it recognizes that this is the executor that will administer this estate. So then institutions, they start opening the doors up. They start giving you access to bank accounts. You start being able to sell property. You can't sell property if you don't, a dead person can't sell property, and the executor can't sell the property without a certificate of appointment. So once you have the certificate of appointment, you can go ahead and sell the property on behalf of the estate. So all of these things, it's like you have your door opened. That's it. It's like an open door. Okay, let's go. You're ready. You're good.
The key to the city.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.